We'll just have to use the,
Oh, it's a thing of beauty.
it's a PDF of, hopefully, of beauty. But we'll see. All right. So I first want to acknowledge that the Institute is on the traditional land of the Coast Salish people, including the Duwamish people, past and present. And we honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. So we've been around since 2015. So we're actually going into our 10th year, which is pretty astonishing. We are a state and federal nonprofit organization. And we started offering workshops for clinicians, for people who were interested in learning about expressive arts and who wanted to also be able to get continuing education credit for classes, for workshops. And then we branched out pretty quickly to offering the training program. Just in June, we graduated our 7th cohort. But we've been around since 2015, but this this human need has been around quite longer. And truly, creative expression is a human need. We've been storytelling, we've been painting, we've been making objects for ritual, play, and healing since forever, since they're all ancient practices. And both expressive arts therapy and expressive arts facilitation draw from these practices. And we always want to recognize and understand and acknowledge with deep gratitude the legacy, the roots. This is something that comes directly from the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association website, but I wanted to put it in here because it's truly what we believe, that the arts should be accessible to all, that that they are incredibly important, uplifting, life enhancing, and that we, including that IATA and us, are committed to ensuring that we are inclusive and promote representation and participation of all groups and individuals, and that we teach to this as well. So what is expressive arts? It is multimodal and it is integrative or intermodal. It is multiculturally congruent, and it is a creative arts approach. So expressive arts is one of the creative arts approaches. There's drama therapy, there's art therapy, there's music therapy, there's dance movement therapy, there's poetry therapy. And we're all under this umbrella of creative arts therapies. And I'll explain more about what intermodal is shortly. And expressive arts doesn't really have a single theoretical core, interestingly. The field is eclectic. It embraces aspects of, but is not limited to, humanistic, narrative, Jungian, Gestalt, phenomenological, existential, somatic, cognitive, and relational cultural approaches, and really more. I like to bring in, it's not a great picture, but this is Natalie Rogers, and she was the founder of the person-centered expressive arts approach. Her father was Carl Rogers. So she really brought this humanistic psychology approach to the expressive arts in a more formal way. I think it was always there, and she was able to bring her father's work into this work, and we use a lot of humanistic, client-centered focus, um, approaches, practices, theory. If we have any theory, it's probably humanistic existential that we work with the most. So with this humanistic foundation, this client-centered focus, expressive arts therapists and facilitators walk alongside the client, being aesthetically responsible for suggesting culturally relevant creative processes. And this is a really nice quote from Natalie. All art that comes from an emotional depth provides a process of self-discovery and insight. We express our inner feelings by creating outer forms. When we express these feelings in visible forms, in a variety of ways, we are using art as a language to communicate our inner truths. So I have a few really wordy slides, and these slides will be posted online, and this and we're recording this now, so this will be posted online. I won't go through every single word on the wordy slides, but I do want to say that expressive arts is an integrated approach. So we are looking holistically at the human experience. We take into consideration somatic connection, psychological and personal growth, social and cultural exploration, and spiritual development. And and also the expressive arts, just by being the expressive arts, can support healing from emotional wounds by relying on multiple approaches to liberating the body, mind, and heart. Expressive arts, or EXA, is grounded in a strengths-based approach that allows the client to see themselves in the context of the world around them rather than in isolation. So what is intermodal? Intermodal in expressive arts means that we we use a multimodal approach. So what we have available to us are all the things that I mentioned that are the creative arts, the visual arts, music, dance movement, writing and poetry, drama, play, and we don't keep them in little silos or their own little packages, but we are able to use them when together intermodally when we feel like it's appropriate for whatever or whomever we're working with in whatever context. So we might move from visual arts into a drama therapy process, and we might ground that experience in writing or storytelling, or we might begin with music and then want to move our bodies and then do some visual work and maybe back to movement, maybe to drama. Bobby, did you want to say
I
something? Yeah.
I I did because I'm so passionate about this, and really, my connection with you, Sibel, is what helped me to, really explore even more that, when you have a story and you the people are actively participating in the story, and they can have a time to do a visual piece that would help deepen their
Yeah.
understanding of what they just did, and then perhaps movement to it, it really is a powerful combination. And we did something with the Three Little Pigs that I have done since then, and people will get a chance to talk about the Three Little Pigs in a context that may not be the old Brothers Grimm story. Oh, I don't know if it's Brothers Grimm or not, but it's an ancient fairy tale. Um, and so to bring it into a modern context of how we feel when we're the person who has not the resources to build a stone house, you know, um, it's been very powerful. So intermodal is really something that that, like you said, without the silos, is just it just opens so much for your clients and your students.
Yeah. I'm really, really glad that you that you shared that, Bobby, because there's a key word in there, which is deep, deepening, deepening the process when you're able to bring together all of the arts and utilize them in this way. That the Three Little Pigs, that's going to go down in history.
I know that was so amazing.
So great. Okay, wordy schmurdy. What is expressive arts facilitation? This is important though, because this year, or technically next year, we are putting into our training a different path, um, an alternative path. And that is expressive arts facilitation. So we have two paths. We have the clinical path and we have the facilitator path or facilitation path. And they are different and they also share a lot. So expressive arts facilitation serves groups, organizations, and individuals. An expressive arts facilitator is skilled in guiding people through various creative processes to promote self-expression and well-being and personal growth, and might work in leadership, education, community building, healthcare, coaching, nursing. Well, that is healthcare, nursing, hospice. There's so many specific organizations or places that people can bring facilitation in. Um, Expressive arts facilitators might offer teaching and consulting across diverse disciplines. So we're repeating, but education, coaching, healthcare, community building, organizational development. So what's different? Expressive arts facilitators can do things that are therapeutic, but it's not therapy. So it's not psychological therapy because there is not any kind of mental health uh, um, protocol involved, I'm going to say. So there's no
Treatment plan.
diagnoses, there's, no, there's not psychological testing being done, nothing like that. And so they're out doing all of this rich, amazing, deep work in other settings with people, not as therapists, but as expressive arts facilitators. And I've been wanting to do this training path for years, and I'm just very excited that it's finally coming to pass. And Topaz Wise is a registered expressive arts consultant and educator. We're going to talk about what that is in a few minutes. And she said expressive arts consulting and education can find itself anywhere in the world. It helps people become present. It helps people perceive the world from different angles and perspectives than perhaps they have before. And she'll be teaching with us in that program. And then expressive arts therapy is a form of therapy that integrates various creative processes, the same as facilitators. So we're drawing from music, dance, drama, poetry, and the visual arts to foster self-expression, exploration, and healing. It is it is within therapy. So um, it is different from facilitation in that the therapist is integrating this approach into their work as as a therapist. Creativity in therapy, a quote from Kathy Malchiotti, has the potential to impact clients in memorable ways that traditional interventions do not. When therapists choose to use expressive therapies, they give their clients the opportunity to become active participants in their own treatment and empower them to use imagination in productive and corrective ways. So making art can provide an opportunity for the safe expression of feelings, but also to try on solutions in the therapeutic setting. One of many things. So I want to go into the program a little bit more specifically. So there's 2 levels to each path. Everyone starts with the basics at level 1. So whether you go in to the clinical program or the facilitator program, we start with level 1. And we really try to honor different learning styles while having this 3-pronged learning approach or process, gaining understanding and knowledge through readings and discussion and presentations, doing lots of experiential hands-on learning, learning through class experientials, and also individual creative practice, stuff that's done in mentor groups and through peer learning also is part of that experiential process. And then application, so applying what you're learning to your work environment, doing the practicum, and also receiving supervision and advisement. I just put this in here because it's so important, and it's something we value so highly in this program, that we are engaged in our own creative process. Most people already are before they come into the program. Some people decide that they want to try something new and different to be in creative practice, and we really support people to try out different things that they're learning in the program, but then also something that maybe they haven't done before, that just is something they want to discover creatively and have that as part of their practice. And that is just an important part of being an expressive arts therapist or facilitator, is having that creative process and practice on board. We start with creativity foundations and multicultural competency and ethics. So these are 2 asynchronous courses. Everybody takes them. This is how we begin. So creativity foundations will explore the self as the artist, the self of the expressive arts therapist, the self of the expressive arts facilitator, which is not on here, I apologize. Working with deconstructing the art wound and trauma. What do I mean by that? That is about looking at what blocks our creative process, what might be in the past, what might be in our heads about not thinking you can't do something, not being able to draw or sing or write a poem. So we work with that, and then create an inner artist or muse or mentor that can help us along in the program. And we do this also by creating an artist family tree lineage, which is a really fun practice, and encouraging building a creative practice. And then the other course here is multicultural competency and ethics. And so there are ethical guidelines that we abide by, and there's scope of practice that is relevant to the facilitator and to the therapist. So we look at that, look at best practices, and then do an overview of cultural diversity practices in expressive arts and facilitation. How to honor where some of these processes come from, how to introduce different things to different populations, being curious about what others can bring from their own creative lineage into the work with you. And then we dive into foundations and intermodal practice, which is the bulk of level 1. So we start with that person-centered and phenomenological approach to the work, learning how to be a witness, attuning to the creative process, embodying the work, being present, learning the language of expressive arts, and how to process the art with a focus on intermodal exploration. And those modalities are as follows. So visual or working with images, and the asterisks, I can't say that, are the things that we will definitely do in level 1. Not saying that the other things we won't do, but those might be more available as electives. So we'll definitely do an introduction to visual arts materials, getting comfortable with the different materials that we will use. We'll do some sort of drawing and painting, something in collage and mixed media. We definitely work with mixed media in visual journaling, which is on the bottom there. Um, we'll bring mask making in, and that sometimes goes in our drama therapy um, module. So we'll see where we do that, Bobby. And then photography and the open studio process is something that I really like to bring into level 1 because it's so useful. And then always you'll see on the next few slides, we integrate visual arts into intermodal practice. How will we bring visual arts into intermodal work? Getting more and more comfortable with that as the program goes on. And then we also will work with writing and reading and working with words. So we talk about creative journaling and different approaches to creative journaling and different elements in writing that can be used in journaling and poetry, and just taking a little bit of a dip into bibliotherapy, learning how to work with existing stories.
Mhm.
Okay, Judy, thanks for being here. Bobby, do you want to take this slide and then the next one?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so when we look at existing stories, that really starts a lot of what you can do with drama therapy when you're a beginning practitioner, and how you can bring people to understand stories, as we said, to deepen their understanding of what the story could be telling us. So these are very important aspects of drama therapy, and there are many approaches to drama therapy. People, you may have heard of playback theater, you may have heard of theater of the oppressed, and there's also within drama therapy something called games to grow, which deals with Dungeons and Dragons and the things that might appeal to. It's also called geek therapy, and it has a very, very nice niche within drama therapy. Okay, next one. Next slide. Within the creative arts therapy, there's an invitation from drama therapy to join in, to make art, make music, write poetry, move to the music, to tell your story and sing your song. And drama therapy is called the great umbrella for that reason. And training in drama therapy sharpens the intuitive lens, to help you bring what is needed into multiple settings. So whether you're an educator or a therapist, or if what you might even be doing some of these things in other kinds of agency work where you're bringing people together with some embodied work. The program brings a coursework required by the North American Drama Therapy Association. That's where you get your registry. And through its embodied action methods, it encourages spontaneity, playfulness, and attunement. And if you look at that, you will see spontaneity, playfulness, and attunement spell spa. So I always like to talk about the spa opportunities within drama therapy, because there's something very deepening and very enlivening about some work that brings people together who didn't know each other, and then at the end of the day they're talking about how they can stay together. And it often happens that people find their network within drama therapy because of its activities. So this is a range of the coursework, and it's about 30 to 45 hours of instruction. And you would be having a variety of instructors bring this information. We were talking about this earlier, that if, for example, if you have group counseling already in a program that you've completed, you would need a little extra to boost the drama therapy aspect of that. Same with ethics, that you would have ethics that you've already taken, and you would look at how you could specifically encourage that approach in drama therapy. We have our own needs for around touch and around various things that embodiment can bring about. And so, and we can look at also past coursework and research and multicultural perspectives. We look at specific populations. One of my, I would say, fortes is community-based theater and sociodrama. Community-based theater is something that I really love, and I think that sometimes the narrative. I have an advanced certificate in narrative therapy, and that approach of telling your story and finding a way to have it. Sometimes it's about the courage and the confidence to do that work. And this particular way of approaching drama therapy in a context where you have community-based interest can really help people find just sometimes a sense of purpose. And so I've really loved the work that I've done. I've been working with students in drama therapy and helping guide them into internships and the jobs that they're doing now, creative work that they're doing now in private practice and in agencies. So that's, and then there, of course, there's the client intervention and the hours of supervision and so forth that constitute your internship time. And that's the drama therapy specialization.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so great that this is a new thing that we're doing too, and I'm really excited about. And so basically, if into level 1 you're so excited about drama therapy, then this will be your level 2. You'll get to specialize in drama therapy and work towards that drama therapy credential.
Right. And a lot of the hours, many of the hours that you have in level 1 can be folded over into the hours. So, yeah, so that's something that I think is unique in this program.
Thanks, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in level 1, we will work with movement and embodiment and sound and music. And then additional components of level 1 are readings and resources and the engagement that you'll have via our new online learning platform. And you'll also be put into a mentor group that will meet regularly and have some individual mentoring as well. And then creative process group will meet weekly for a month. So all of the modalities will be January through April, and then creative process group will be the month of May. And then you'll do your project presentation. Now, those dates don't apply to the hybrid program. That has a little bit of a different schedule. All of the scheduling that we have so far is online, and I can show you where to get it if we have time, but it's pretty user friendly, I hope. Um, the training program uh, website. Okay, and then level 2 for clinicians and the REAT path. I promise we're almost done and we'll have questions soon. So level 2. So you would go into level 2 therapists, particularly if you want to pursue the registration as an expressive arts therapist. And so if you do the online program, if you do the online program, or even if you do hybrid, you will get to do level 2 starting in the fall of 2025. So we've got the practicum, we've got monthly mentor group meetings, which basically you will be doing supervision in those groups at this point. And then 10 hours of individual supervision. We've got creative process group 2. So you're continuing to work in a group on creative process, on designing experientials, interventions. And then also we've got trauma-informed approaches, which is one day class, and then 24 hours of electives. How the electives work in level 2, you can take any workshops that the Institute offers, and some will be specific for the training program, but not all, online or in person, depending on where you're located, and get up to 24, get 24, and then you'll be done with electives. That's the coursework that is needed for level 2. And then level 2 continues until coursework and practicum are complete. You might finish all your coursework in a few months, but maybe you're not done with your practicum. That is okay. You can keep your student status and continue your practicum as long as you're continuing with your supervision. Practicum, again, 200 hours with your student status, which is required for the REAT, at your work site, or it could be school internship, graduate internship. These 200 hours do not count towards the REAT experience hours. That's a postgraduate of our program situation. You get to accrue the hours towards the REAT after the practicum hours. It's a different set of hours. And then you'll need the group and individual supervision during practicum. Okay. I highly recommend, if you want to pursue the REAT, that you go online and you look at the standards and requirements for the REAT, the Registered Expressive Arts Therapist, with the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association. It's after completing level 2, 1,000 experience hours, and then it's supervision, which is 50 hours of individual supervision, 100 hours of group supervision, or a combination of those two. And then you have the application to submit. And this, they say, at least right now, the guideline is to do this within 4 years of graduation from our program in this case. For the facilitators and the REACE path, the REACE, Registered Expressive Arts Consultant and Educator. This path also is overseen by the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association. So if you go into level 2, you will be doing everything you need to do to move towards that credential. Level 2 is it basically begins July 2025 with a 4 to 5 day intensive in Seattle. There is like a residential a residency requirement for the REACE. So we do that in July, and then you'll do coursework after that, group process in expressive arts in community and educational organizations, developing the facilitator philosophy, which is going to be fantastic, and then individual advising for the capstone practicum, which is online. You'll have to do a 25-hour capstone practicum, and that will end your requirements for REACE. And then you'll have to, as far as training is concerned, and then you'll have to do some more experience hours before you apply for the REACE. This is very wordy again. There's a formal pathway and a non-formal pathway to the REACE. I do not expect you to take this all in right now and digest it. I can't do it. It took me months to figure out the REACE and the standards and guidelines. And take your time. Don't let this worry you if you want to do this path. And of course, we'll be available for questions and figuring this stuff out. So many professional benefits. So look at those smiling, sweet faces. That's from
Mm.
a cohort a couple years ago.
Mhm.
Um, and so of course, the training adds to and refreshes your clinical skills. We have exceptional faculty, in my humble opinion. We start in with the cohort model. Level 2, we do branch out to the clinical program, the facilitator program. Those do separate. Mostly what I want for you is to gain the confidence to use the expressive arts in your work setting, what we want for you. And to work towards the registration, if you want that with the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association. It's a lovely thing to have this credential. This is a growing community, both locally to this institute, but also worldwide. Expressive arts is growing. And then, of course, you can get CEs or clock hours if those are things that you want and need. Personal benefits, endless, really, but engaging in creative practice in the expressive arts automatically provides opportunities for personal growth. I don't think there's one student that I can think of that wasn't moved in some way personally and didn't grow from the experience. And it's not about us. It's about doing the work. It's about being part of this amazing, beneficial, beautiful, expressive arts work that opens our imaginations, um, values our expression, and benefits our health and well-being. Yeah, I mean, doing this, it absolutely deepens our understanding of how to work with others, being in this
Absolutely.
process ourselves. And we can teach ourselves new ways to sustain our work in the world through our own creative outlets and practices.